Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, the live stream, the podcast, and of course, the Portugal Club, where we will go for the Portuguese citizenship test question. Sorry, incoming this. Probably Chris. Will we have a Capricorn Chronicle this morning from the public transport of His Majesty's United Kingdom? I wonder. It always makes us feel better. I'm not sure if it's helping you, Chris, at all. But yes, Portuguese citizenship test question 58 over at the Portugal Club this morning. An interesting one. I think you'll get this one fairly easily, to do with Portugal's former currency before the euro. And thank you, Anouk, getting in early there. There are some people waiting in the morning to do the citizenship test question. And a good effort, I have to say, this morning. So good morning to you, Anouk. And everybody who's joined us already this morning at the the Good Morning Portugal show, as well as the Portugal Club. And lovely, lovely day yesterday. Let me show you a picture and you can see if you can guess where we were. I haven't had a chance to work on any video yet. We were back quite late last night after a fabulous day. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Duck. Lovely to see you. And I think this picture sums up the wonderful day we had yesterday. There's my three nippers. And I think you can guess where this is. This is one of the most amazing attractions, destinations here in Portugal. It's the Oceanarium. The aquarium at the Parque dos Nações in the capital, of course. It is such a good day out, and it was lovely actually to see some new parts of the exhibition as well. I think I've been there 3, maybe 4 times now, and it's just so enchanting. It really is like stepping into another dimension. And something happens. It's a consciousness shift as well. There are people microdosing all sorts of things. A nice, easy and legal way to shift your consciousness, I would say, is to pop along to the Oceanarium. It is stunning. It's really stunning. It's the most incredible construction project, environmental, ecological, oceanic project. It just ticks so many brilliant boxes. So great job to the... didn't really find out. I think there was one of the new exhibitions, the designer and the specially commissioned piece of music to go with it. There was some credit there, but what an amazing team that have put this together. What an incredible vision, and what amazing hard work to keep it running, because it must be so on a knife's edge, all the chemistry and all the variables that make this such a brilliant place to be, an awe-inspiring place. So congratulations to everyone, and what a lovely day. So thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Duck. Great to hang out with you yesterday. Thoroughly recommend this as one of Portugal's greatest attractions. So welcome to you on this Thursday, the 20th of November. Good Lord, only, I don't know, a few shopping days till Christmas or whatever at the moment. The video has dropped. Okay, I hope it's back again now. Well, there was a problem. Is it your video that's dropped? There was a problem with my video this morning. One of the cameras wouldn't work. The usual camera, the best camera that I use. I thought I was going to have to use the laptop camera. But let's see how we get on. Let's see how you are. Let's see who's in this morning. Bon dia, Gumpers, from a very cold UK. That says it all. Thank you for the UK weather check-ins. Always makes us feel better here. It's cold in Portugal, quite frankly. Bon dia, alegria, Gumpers. T-Duck, good morning to you. Veronica popping in later. Carl maybe, busy man. He might pop in and see us. The English gentleman, the Mancunian in Lisbon, south of the river, may well drop in, but Veronica will be with us at around 8:20, 8:30 this morning with a report of real estate and news from the south. Bon dia, alegria. Chris, loved your video yesterday. Do we get another today? Yeah, I enjoyed that as well. Caught the earlier train this morning. Missed. Okay, here we go with the Capricorn Chronicle for this morning. Hopefully this will make it to Netflix. A mixture of video diary, hidden camera maybe on the underground, and Chris talking whispering into his... on one armpit, he's got someone's head. On the other armpit, he's got his microphone giving a commentary of what's going on. Caught the earlier train this morning, missed the 6:58. While a lot of us were still luxuriating in warm beds in Portugal, Chris is out and about on British public transport due to a load of passengers that got off 2 buses, not knowing how to use the gates at the train station. Very cold again. Got the 7. Oh, so you were stuck behind people who are just mucking about, not knowing what to do. That's annoying, isn't it, when you're commuting? Got the 7 a.m. Lizzie line. My goodness. And bon dia from Sarah. Lovely to see you, Sarah. Thank you for being here this morning. You look like something out of a Star Wars movie. He did, didn't he? Yes, that was quite incredible. Talking out from a pile of scarves and hats yesterday. Bon dia from Central Portugal. Is it chilly there? Henry and Nina, and never been on the Lizzie line. Does it still look new? The Elizabeth line. Where does it go from and to? Chris, give us a little bit of some facts and figures on the underground. I think it's a lot of it's overground as well, isn't it? Underground, overground. If you could tell us a little bit more about the line that was named in honor of Her Majesty before His Majesty took the throne. Chris, talking of the vertically challenged, were you? Bad dad joke for you. What do you call a gnome under a woman's dress? I don't know if I can read that. We'll see. You can read it for yourselves in the comments, especially if I put them onto the screen like that. Yeah, we had a lovely day. It was such fun. Our youngest is turning into quite the character, isn't he? Little monkey. Carl in the garage, Chris on the train. We're all in the chat and with Portugal on the brain. Oh, I say. No, Peter. Awesome, Chris. The stream has been fun. Yeah, I think it's Chris's video maybe that's dropped. And yes, more fans of the ocean area. It's superb, isn't it? What a great place. I remember having a saltwater tank. What? Oh, the fish were fine. The crabs a little tricky, but the coral was a nightmare. Constantly trying to. The coral were trying to kill each other. But a slow and steady race, a slow and steady and lethal race. So you've kept marine fish or a marine aquarium, Pete. Amazing. The things you find out about people in an unguarded moment. Good morning, everyone, from Gemini. And Dairo, good morning. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Hola, bon dia, Malta. Cycling with the gang later this morning when it gets a bit warmer. Loving those videos. Morning. Is Mel here as well? Is Simply Live Mel here? I didn't see you come in. Simply Live Mel. And bon dia from Gary as well. Nice to see you, Gary. Good to see more of you on the live stream. Bon dia, todos e feliz quinta from the coach. Cold, dry ahead today to be spent waiting for deliveries. What happened to us, human beings, staying in waiting for deliveries in this age of high-tech technology? It doesn't make any sense that we've been making Bezos a few more dollars. Yeah, he needs the money. I don't know what his next plan is, but yeah, he probably needs some substantial funding for it. Complete world domination. Bom dia, there's Mel and Matty. Bom dia, alegria a todos. E feliz quinta-feira da minha quinta. And yes, what a beautiful morning. Top of the morning to you there. To you folks in central Portugal. Cold night though. Temperature was down to 1 degree. Thing is, it feels like -10 when it goes cold in Portugal. The cold country with the hot sun, of course. Where is that sun? Didn't get much of around San Martinho de Porto, did we? We've got a 24-hour second summer, as far as I can tell. But there's still time. Sick Noticias is saying, este frio de rachar. Portugal congelado. So it's in the news, and I'm going to take a little bit of a look at the news this morning. See what's what. We haven't done that for a little while. In anticipation of Veronica joining us as well. And if you want to send us something of a photographic or videographic cinematic nature, 913-590-303. Veronica in hair and makeup as we speak. Just got the message there from her PA letting us know. And yeah, okay, let's do the citizenship test question. And I'm very proud to say, actually, that if you want a clue, you can type in the various currencies that are being mentioned here, and you might get a little bit of info in the back of the Portugal Club on the answers here. Certainly, some of them. At least one of them. Let's go to it then. Portuguese citizenship test question number 58, everybody. What was the name of the Portuguese currency before the euro? Was it the escudo, was it the real, or was it the cruzeiro? Now, these questions are layered, are they not, as we've discovered? So it might be that the real and the cruzeiro. What were the other? There's that. Is it Tostinhos? There's a wine, isn't there? Saint Tostinhos, is it called? That refers to an ancient currency of Portugal as well. And maybe the real and the cruzeiro were former currencies, as was the escudo. But which was the one before the euro? there, the citizenship test question. 58 today. Try typing those into the search bar. Loads of information at the back of the Portugal Club in the classroom to help you get to grips with your life here. And welcome to a couple of new members who joined overnight. Thank you very much for joining us. People wanting to learn more about Portugal before moving here. There's the A to Z primer you should be able to see on your screen. Yeah, that comes with a free basic freemium membership and the user guide to show you how to use the Portugal Club technology, and then all of this other information for you here as well, including, of course, the legendary, we were talking about it on Monday with Vitor, the 30-day Portuguese challenge, where you will, I can guarantee you that if you do that course and study Portuguese with Vitor and Maria over 30 days, your confidence will improve, and you'll be likely, if you don't already, to open your mouth in a public situation here in Portugal, and feel proud of yourself that you're connecting. So there you go. That's the Portugal Club. And the question today, what's this? Let's have a look. It's still the escudo in Cape Verde. Is it really? I didn't realise that, Pete. And surprised they haven't taken them out and salted them. What are we talking about there, I wonder? Salted nuts? Always colder near that mountain. It never got below 5. Below 5, that's pretty significant, isn't it? Talking of salty tanks, there's a great maritime museum in Aveiro with a huge tank. Oh, with massive cod swimming in it. Yes, is that the nautical, or is it actually a museum dedicated to bacalhau there? I think it's like the nautical museum, isn't it, in Aveiro there. The coins were silver. Another clue then, the currency here in Portugal before the euro, the coins were silver and beautiful. Still smell what, Peter? What's going on? Have you had your medication this morning? Had my electric heater on full steam and my hotspot on, and still did not get above 17 degrees centigrade in my mobile home. Imagine you took refuge under the furry dogs, did you not? Did not want to get out of bed. And yes, the joys of trailer park life. See, within 1 week, apparently, I caught 5 mice, and yesterday my first rat in my tech room. Are those dogs on the case or not? Or do you need a cat? Did I get them all, or are there still some? Yeah. What were the telltale signs? Was it droppings or nibbling through your stuff? Had a little bit of a situation with that quite recently. But you wouldn't think in this household, you wouldn't think you'd have a mice or rodent problem, would you, when you've got 4 cats? But that's the thing. They are so lazy these days. Cats today, eh? What are they like? My hotspot gets up to 50 megabytes. Chucks out a bit of heat as well, I suspect. That's it. You want your hotspot in bed with you, like an electronic hot water bowl. 17 degrees centigrade is great. Last year, inside my house was normally 12 or less for 4 to 5 months. The luxury of 17 degrees, Matty. Think yourself lucky. That's Mel's. It's hopefully going to be better this year for you in the winter, Mel. Okay, let's have a quick look at the news then before we start chatting with Veronica. And before I shut down the laptop to get all of the to try and get the camera working again, I did have all the news pages open, and of course have shut them now. So let's have a quick look. Portugal resident, of course, we could save that because we'll be talking for the first time to Natasha Don tomorrow with her news picks. I don't know if you heard yesterday, and I've got to get this scar sorted out. Mrs. M will put some makeup on it for me. What a terrible time to get a gash. Stop it, Peter. I can't record a video looking like this, can I? And you may be thinking, well, it's all right for us gumpers. Why can't it be all right for them posh folk at the Portugal Resident, now known as the Resident, of course? But I can't make my debut on the Portugal Resident, now the Resident podcast, with a big gash on my forehead. So I might have to put a bit of makeup on tomorrow, or get Mrs. M to do. I wouldn't know where to start, but maybe she'll be able to do a little bit of cosmetic cover up for me. It is the first outing tomorrow, and it'll be published later in the day, chatting with Natasha Don. Now, I love her reporting, and it'll be nice. I don't think I've ever spoken to her in real life. By tomorrow, we will have spoken to each other, and we will have had a look at her top 3 news picks, her favourite stories from the week from the paper, some of which she'll have reported on. Some of will be other journalists, feature writers in the Resident, I suspect, and we'll have a deeper dive into those together, and it will be the first of the new Resident podcast, which will be published later on tomorrow afternoon. So looking forward to that full face mask. Cheeky. It won't be live. You'll have to wait for it to be published. and we may do them live in the future, but they will be like proper podcasts in the sense of they'll be published as podcasts, both on YouTube, on the Portugal Resident YouTube channel, and on a podcast platform near you. Peda, good morning to you. Bon dia todos from the Peda in Wales. That is a very small gash on your face. No, I'm not going to. That is outrageous, Peter. And on a serious note with that stuff, I hope some justice is served soon. There are rattlings, are there not, that might point in that direction? Let's hope so, that justice can come for the people who've been not looked after by our global society for far too long now, in favour of others who should know better, should be behaving better, and hopefully will be brought to justice soon. Stop short of saying string them up. Anyway, let's go to the Portugal Resident. Quick look at the screen here and of the Portugal Resident, the virtual homepage. Of course, the Portugal Resident will be published today in print. So if your subscribers, actually, I'm not sure if you will receive your printed copy today. It's published on the newsstand today. I don't know how long it takes. T-Duck might know the answer to this. Can take anything from a couple of days to a couple of weeks to arrive. That's probably more due to the Portuguese post than it is to the Portugal Resident. But how lovely. You can still get a newspaper through the post here. Portugal Resident do that. I think the news do it as well, don't they? Their cover this morning, the virtual one anyway, flight crews to decide whether to join the general strike. Oh my goodness, on December the 11th. General strike, of course, on its way for December the 11th here in Portugal. And forest fire coordination failure, sadly, caused summer fires to spread, one of the headlines there. And I've not reported on this so far. It's not because I don't want to. It's just I haven't found the right angle on it. But there is unequivocal opposition to the Castelo Branco Solar Park. Is this the one near you, Pete, in Fundão? Pressure is amplifying against the massive solar park planned across various municipalities. Oh, so it's a number of sites then, including Fundão, with just one day left for the public participation exercise ahead of an official an official greenwash, possibly. Official green... I'm not seeing there. Yes, I am. Official green light. That's very poor choice of words, possibly there, isn't it? I imagine Natasha. Maybe we'll talk about this one tomorrow morning, Natasha. NGOs, environmentalists, lawyers, and civic groups are united in trying to impress what they see as cataclysmic downsides of allowing 1 million. Well, there's some good business in there for somebody, right? Follow the money, honey. 1,365,588 photovoltaic panels to smother landscapes rich in biodiversity. And as some people have said, who aren't, Greta Thunberg was spotted in Portugal yesterday at that supernatural site of Entroncamento, where there have been massive vegetables and three-legged chickens and all sorts of weird goings on. To add to that list, we've now seen Greta Thunberg allegedly appearing at Entroncamento. But even you dyed green in the organic wool environmentalists. That's not all of the people. That's not the characterization of the people protesting against this. There are people who just don't want to see the landscape smothered, as Natasha put it, in photovoltaic panels, which, of course, there's still loads of space on top of buildings for photovoltaic panels and a chance to create energy locally rather than these massive solar farms that will blight the landscape. I'm imagining that just a few of the supporters of this are the ones who might benefit directly and financially from such a project. The project expels woods, forests, and everything that lives in them, explains environmental lawyer Rui Amores, or is it all in the name of the sun or in the same of the sun? Maybe we'll have a look at that, a deeper dive into that tomorrow. Veronica's making herself comfortable behind the scenes. Let's just cast a glance across the rest of the page of the Portugal Resident in virtual format. Yeah, the deadly tornado in Albufeira, the cleanup has started there. Social peace at risk, concerns raised over the general strike. Talk about following money, honey. A doctor arrested over 3 million euro diabetes drug fraud. It's as though there's lots of money in drugs, and certainly one doctor benefiting there with the money that can be made in and among the pharmaceutical industries. I thought it was about helping people and helping them to get well. Looks like there's quite a few financial vested interests in that as well. Okay, and finally from the Portugal resident as well, Trump leaves Ronaldo in stitches. Oh, in stitches at the White House. So Cristiano's been working on his material. Oh no, the other way around. A few funnies from Donaldo to Ronaldo over there. PSP swoop on gun crime underway in Lisbon neighbourhoods. Yeah, I think PSP, PJ, and the GNR have been busy just recently, haven't they? You'll see that in the crime report that Antonio F puts together for us at the Portugal Club. He's reporting on something pretty much every day there, alongside the sublime and the ridiculous. There's the ridiculous things that go on in the world of crime here in Portugal that he covers, as well as the sublime list, ever-increasing list of Portuguese sayings. Very quick look then at the Portugal news for you this morning as well. And still that service I want to tell you about was where a friend of Josh's here, one of my friends and neighbours here in San Martin de Porto. He's got a mate who will help you do an audit of your digital world and help you organise it better. I did have those details on the screen, but hoping to get him on the show to help people with that, who describe themselves as technophobes and Luddites. He's got help for you, because I imagine that's going to become increasingly difficult to manage all your digital assets in your digital world, and he's an expert in that. So we'll chat with him at some point. Portugal News homepage then. Yeah, activist Greta Thunberg spotted in Portugal. Portugal's citizenship law, we better have a look at this, haven't we? Portugal's citizenship law hits a major turning point as PS freezes reform. I think we know about this, don't we, with the socialists having put this to the Constitutional Court. On November the 13th, the process reached a major turning point. The PS announced that it would send the law to the Constitutional Court themselves rather than waiting for the president to do that. Rarely used in Portugal, this political mechanism results in the law being automatically suspended. At this stage, the law cannot be signed, cannot be published, and cannot enter into force until this has taken place then. The move indicates that amendments require a thorough constitutional assessment, but I'm going to say that to my kids when they're demanding something. Dad, can I have X, Y, or Z? No, this must go through a thorough constitutional assessment. Join the back of the queue, particularly concerning principles such as legal certainty, equality, legitimate expectations, and the risk of creating diachronic inequality. My goodness, nobody wants diachronic inequality first thing in the morning in access to citizenship. So there you go. That on the Portugal News if you want to find out more. And finally, then, Portuguese among the best in English, speaking English, that would be. Lisbon hotspot, starting reusable cup system. How's that going to work? Several bars in Lisbon's Bairro Alto district will host, starting Thursday, today, the first network of, it's like a beer festival, the first network of 5 reusable cup return machines to combat waste. How does it actually work? The system is powered by Tomra's Rotake technology, a complete reuse model that includes digital tracking. Oh no! Didn't we used to have this? In fact, don't we still have this? Like porcelain cups that you wash and use again. Why has it got digital tracking? Cup collection, sanitization, and redistribution. The company manages the entire life cycle of the cups to ensure efficiency, hygiene, and environmental performance, adding that approximately 25,000 cups are used every night in Lisbon's entertainment areas. Well, it sounds like a good idea. When they say cup, then, does that include glasses, perhaps, for the bars in... Do you see that picture as well? Who is that? She was everyone's dream girl in the 90s. This is her recently. Stop it with that horrible clickbait over there on the Portugal News. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Oh, no, she's gone. Just as maybe she got sick of waiting. Veronica was waiting, and now she's gone. Thank you very much. What? Thank you very much. Oh, my full face mask. Yes, I can use this, can I not? For my... Thank you very much, T-Duck. This is very thoughtful of you. Tomorrow, then, if I can't do it with makeup, I've got a different system. Thanks, Diane, for your Fundao action against the solar panels as well there. So I've got a Facebook link for anybody who wants to follow that up on Facebook. Thanks, Diane, for that, or Pete, for sending me that. So that's there for you over at Orca. There is so much industrial land they could use. Yeah, it's money. It's all about the money. Thank you very much. Let me just show you my face. Thank you for coming back, Veronica. Much appreciated. Here's the mask then that I might use tomorrow if all else fails. Look, no one will know, will they? Surrounded by my characteristic half-empty glasses of booze. There you go. I'll do that tomorrow with a festive seasonal hat as well. And I've grown the beard back just in time for that as well. Thank you very much. My goodness. Yes, also available at the Good Morning Portugal merchandise outlet. Big round of applause. Thank you for coming back, Veronica.
Hi.
Oh,
Sorry, I was logging in and it logged me out.
Not at all. Not
Go
at
explain
all.
that one, and now I'm just sharing so that way everyone can see it.
You're the best. You are the best.
Landscape, and I apologize.
Something else we should probably do as well is there's a new collaboration feature on YouTube, isn't there? Which I think would work well for us both. But we don't have time to look into that now. We barely had time to get a show together. I was checking, should have done this before I went out yesterday, on the way back from Lisbon yesterday. Who's on the show, I wonder, tomorrow? Oh, Carl and Veronica. And I thought to myself, that can't be right. They were only on the show last week, it felt like. What is it just me, or is this whizzing round? Are these monthly slots whizzing round faster and faster every month?
Yeah. And so are my deadlines for writing. I literally just get the new magazine or the new thing that I write for, and another one's due. I'm like, how is it possible? It's almost the 20th. What? I know they say as you get older, you time starts going faster, but this is insane.
Isn't
it's
it?
Like month. Same thing. I was like, I woke up this morning. I'm like, oh, it's Thursday, but I think it's next week. Let me double check. And then you sent the text last night, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for responding to the call, and thank you for being here this morning. How are you doing? What's going on? We're complaining here of the cold. Central Portugal's pretty chilly. Coastal Portugal chilly up here on the Silver Coast. How is it in the Algarve?
So it hasn't hit yet. It probably will soon. But they said there's an anticyclone that's bringing polar air down, right? And yesterday was so bright and sunny and warm that after yoga, I literally had to move to the shade. And today is sunny, and I think it's going to be warm. I'm not sure when it hits us. Sometimes some of the stuff that hits us breaks up over land, except that last storm, because it came straight up from the ocean. For those that don't know, I'm in the Far East. So again, everything hits the Atlantic, hits poor Lisbon and Sagres and the Algarve. The Algarve's not one little spot. It's like 3 hours apart from the south of Portugal, from east to west. So it hits, slams there first and comes across, and a lot of times breaks up by the time it hits us. But when it comes in from the ocean, so this time it kind of swirled around Africa and popped up and came in the river, we got it too. I think Albufeira got it worst with even a tornado.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That was terrifying, wasn't it, seeing that tornado there? For the first pictures I saw, I think somebody had doctored them, but there was no need. I mean, it was tragic and terrifying enough as it was in real life without any AI assistance. So, yeah.
I was driving in it, and I literally had to stop a few times on the highway. A friend was doing an art show in Silves, which is about an hour and a half away, and she broke her wrist. So I needed to take her partner to her because she didn't have her car. So anyway, long story is we were driving. We literally had to keep stopping, and on the way back, because we had like a closing party for our beach club. And when we came back, there was police all over the highway, and ambulances, a lot of ambulances, and going slowing people down to like 5 kilometers an hour. And we were going so slow, and there was stuff all over the highway. Like that tornado just must have ripped through, because it looked like parts of trailer parks. And I don't know why a tornado always hits a trailer park, and it found one in Albufeira.
Now you say it, yes.
It always happens in America. It's weird. It's like trailer parks are always in the path of tornadoes.
Tornado magnet, yeah.
And that it was all over the highway, and I didn't know until the next few days that it was an actual tornado that hit.
Yeah. Terrifying stuff. I don't know how unusual that is. here in Portugal. When we were talking to Philomena, she was saying there are, the weather's definitely changed and there are more storms now. There are always storms here, but they're more frequent. And that was a bad one, old Claudia. And we were hoping, we did have a glimmer of a second summer, didn't we? The San Martino, Varal de San Martino. So you had a little bit of it yesterday. That sounds lovely. Resplendent after yoga and having to move out of the sun because it was so hot.
Yeah. We go to a nice lunch and we try to get the tables. Well, it's going to be today. I didn't look yet. It's going to be 63 degrees. So in Celsius.
That's not too bad. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And when you're in the sun, you feel it because remember, when you look up the weather, you're looking it up in the shade. So
I didn't realize that. Okay. I'm pretty poor on my grasp of weather, I have to say. I tend to just go outside to find out what the weather's doing. Do you watch the weather?
So I have 3 apps that I use. I use the generic one that's super easy to look at that's on my iPhone. And then I use Windy and I use Weather Radar. And I'm like a geek. I love to watch. Windy's kind of what, if you have a sailing license or you sail, you'll know it shows where the wind is coming from, how strong it was going. So I was posting to my WhatsApp group, oh my gosh, you guys, it's going to be, 50 nautical miles, which is about 65. And I think 70 is a hurricane. I'm like, and it's coming straight up the river. So there's nothing to protect us. When it comes from the south, it's going to hit. And one neighbor was so funny. I checked in. I'm like, any leaks, everything okay? And she said, no, it was stormy, but if it's going to be stormy, where's like the thunder and lightning? And the next day we got thunder and lightning. So, if you're in a house that's pretty storm-proof, it's kind of interesting to watch. If you're not, those trailers and whatnot, that's really scary. And my heart goes out to them.
Yes. And
tourists.
Or if you're touring Portugal in a van, as our mate Nick, who's sending us his music, I think it was pretty challenging for him as well. Hard to sleep in that, isn't it? I mean, on the one hand, the noise, but also, you're inside a box, aren't you? Thinking, I hope this passes soon, and you've no idea how long it's going to be. So, what would your recommendation be then? This is great because I never talk really much about the weather except to say, of course, we've got 300 days of sunshine here in Portugal, which I get into more and more trouble for as each year passes, and that seems to be less and less the case. But what do you recommend to people who want to keep an eye on the weather with an app on their phone? What would be your number one pick for that?
I think Weather Radar is really great and it's free. I do buy the professional edition. Whenever I use something a lot, I always buy the professional to support them so they stay in business.
Yes.
And same with Windy. I think Windy's like $29 a year and Weather Radar, and you get all the extra features, the different layers of, rain, wind, the actual weather maps themselves that show the heat maps, and a plethora of other things, all the warnings.
And would that work as well for people who, and this is an important consideration, of course, when you're thinking of moving here, but you still live elsewhere in the world, is that a useful app to have just to keep an eye on things and to discover sort of microclimatic?
Absolutely. My next journey is going to be in Italy. So I'm watching that alongside of this. I just move the cursor back and forth. It's on your phone. They're all apps on your phone, but I like using the computer because I can see more.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of geeky, weird habits. And one of them, I'm just maps and weather.
Okay. Very good. I had no idea about that. And what was the name of it again? Could you repeat
Windy, WINDY.
Yeah.
And Weather Radar.
Weather Radar, of course. And Portugal's own, I mean, do you pop along to IPMA as well? Because I think that's pretty good. That's where I tend to go to check out weather warnings. There it is on the screen there, that Instituto Português do Mar e da Atmosfera, IPMA there, and that'll give you an idea of all sorts of things, including, are you as geeky as to want to know whether it's safe to harvest bivalves?
What?
Yes.
Arthur.
This is maybe a bit too esoteric, but this is telling you when it's safe to harvest bivalves, which I suppose, does that refer to all kinds of, it's a bit like Monty Python, doesn't it?
What's a bivalve?
Bivalves are shellfish, I thought. Pete will know. Pete will tell us in just a moment. But,
those are those ones that go on the rocks and they scrape them off and they almost die trying to get this little thing
I think it's all shellfish creatures that are edible from the sea. So you're given a guide here when it's a bit like, whether there is an what is it? I don't know if a Y in the month. Is that right? Is that the guide for oysters, for example? It's the scientific version of that IPMA will give you. I don't know. It just attracted my attention when I was looking at by thinking, what's that? Bivalves, of course, in Portuguese. But there you go. There's IPMA as well, which I think is worth taking a look at for those of you wanting to find out more about the weather if you're looking from afar. Thank you for that little detour there. What's going on then socially and in the world of real estate for you down in the south?
So yeah, we should talk real estate. I do realize we have so much fun talking. Sometimes we forget the real estate.
Yes, we do.
Shiny object.
Yes, yeah.
So things are still hopping. And as you saw, all the statistics from Idealista, thank you, smallest. It just continues to go up and up and up. Every time you think they're like, there's going to be a slowdown, don't think. Again, my advice consistently is, if you know you want to live here, you find a place you like, you can live here at least 10 years, which is a real estate cycle generally, then you buy it. You don't sit and wait, because all we've seen is people waiting are getting priced out of the market. And again, we had a big blogger 2-3 years ago that was saying, wait. Some investment guru said that, prices are going to go down, and people waited. And during that quarter, they lost 20%. You can't, if you could, one, don't time the market ever, investments, anything. But two, if you had a crystal ball, you wouldn't need to worry about real estate, because you would just be billionaire, and it wouldn't matter. You could buy everything all the time. So stop pretending you have a crystal ball and you know what's going to happen, because between like these storms that just happened, between COVID, you know how many people had leaks, and you know what? Their property's not going to be a great item for sale right now. It's people are going to be focused on repairs and weatherproofing. And did you have a lot of leaks up there?
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Leaky roofs?
Actually, we did okay. It's the flash flooding, I think, that I was out and did get caught in some horizontal rain in the car, which was pretty terrifying. And I think being near the coast as well, you do expect some to be lashed with rain, so we're kind of used to that. But it was a sudden. What was so weird about it was how the sky seemed to just open up, and suddenly the street had an inch of water on it, and you think, I hope this can filter away. I hope this can go down the drains without too much trouble, because that's when the trouble starts, I think, isn't it? When the water's gathering in there. But we got off pretty lightly. But yeah.
It's a concern, and you should stop. I was driving through that storm after I dropped my friend off. I needed to buzz back here for a party. And in the matter of, 10, 20 minutes, when we had stopped picking up her car, we were driving off. It was this finca that our friend was staying out north of Silge, and those roads were way in the middle of nowhere. And when we came in, there was some water on the small little road. And we came back, I was behind her, and I saw how deep it was and how it was coming across.
Yes.
And I thought, oh man, we shouldn't cross this probably. But because she had just flown through and kind of literally spread the waters, I just tucked behind her, and we probably hit 3 of those that probably later could have washed a car away. I mean, those are the things that are scary. And it just all of a sudden poured. And this is not typical Algarve weather. So most of the roads and houses are not ready for it. And that's why I asked about the leaks, because a lot of houses that have not leak during that time. Water will find its way in.
That's when you find out. That's a test of your home, isn't it? And that's such an amazing moment, isn't it, as a driver? The first time you think to yourself, I'm going for it, and the water's getting deeper and deeper, and you're thinking, what was I told? Keep your foot on the gas, don't let the water go up the exhaust pipe, and you're halfway through. And you're thinking, oh my God, how long is this going to go on for? And is there anything in the water? I didn't think about that. So you're lucky, aren't you, to be behind someone who's going through, unless they stop, and then you're pretty much.
Yeah, she's really smart. I don't think she would. She's brilliant. Hello, Nancy and Denise. Give them a shout out. The art show in Silves was great success.
Good morning to you, everybody watching on Veronica's channel as well. Thank you for being here. Carl Hyde has joined us. Good man. He's a legend. He's a trooper. We'll bring him on in a couple of minutes as well. But yeah, any other news from down south? There's something I want to talk to you both about. An amazing picture of on X. It's a 1.7 million home in Almada. I'll bring the picture up in a moment, but it says the same street is littered with abandoned, half-collapsed buildings and inhabited ones that look like they'll crumble in the next gust of wind. Only in Portugal's housing bubble. I guess that's a political point on what they're calling the housing bubble. But why is it in Portugal, Veronica? Do you see a £1 million house and then you see an abandoned lot next to it? And then, like the guy's saying, like a place that looks abandoned, but there's someone living there. How does that happen here? This doesn't happen in other countries so much, does it?
It's because of their inheritance law, because they have an inheritance law that everything has to be equally divided between the descendants and the ascendants. So what happens with that is you get 10 kids. Portuguese traditionally have larger families. Remember when the last regime was in, they have Catholic as the main religion, and Catholicism is really the primary religion around a big chunk of Europe, which means lots of children. And if you still have mom and dad alive and you have 10 kids, the fact that they're all going to agree to sell it is a problem. And this is where you will see beautiful homes and then just a rotten one. Some of the family feuds that go on are ridiculous. And some families are very wealthy and they've got 5 or 6 properties. They don't need the money. People forget there's a lot of wealthy Portuguese. And so then if you have a family that has, let's say, 10 kids, which is one of the cases of a family that owns a lot of properties in our town of Vila Real de Santo Antonio, they just can't be bothered to, let's say the ruin goes for 100,000 euros. They can't be bothered to have every kid sign off on it. And between real estate commission, maybe they get 10,000 then 5,000 after taxes. Yeah. They'd rather just say, forget it, or screw sorry, I shouldn't say that. If they have one of their poorer relatives, make sure they don't get it, right? If they're playing any well, if you don't do it my way, nobody gets it. That family.
Yes, so nothing to do with the bubble. It's by virtue of the enforced heirship and the system that we have of succession and inheritance.
And the cities and towns and government have got to jump in and just say, look, if the house is literally melting, it's making the neighborhood look bad. It does. They just melt. Because they're rocks on mud, some of them that are a couple hundred years old, right? You look at it, you're like, that's not proper concrete. And until the cities sit here and say, oh, there's no housing, but looking right in front of them are all of these places that could be flipped. And I have a little plan. True. The government takes them, lets entrepreneurs come in, rehab them. They share the profits in the rehab, and then the family gets a percentage.
I'm torn. I do like the idea, but the idea of the government seizing homes just sends a chill down the back of my neck. But I get the point. But I guess
there's no housing, and they're never going to do anything with this.
I get it.
Sitting there for 200 years melting or more, 3, 4, 5. They may not have the funds, and they could do it all voluntary first, right? Everybody that wants to let the city run your program, you get a chunk of change from the flippers. The flippers have jobs. You have construction jobs. The economy grows. Because the government's selling it, there's a limit on how much they can make. People can buy affordable housings, or they can make rentals.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's just, how would that process work? Hopefully, there will be people applying themselves to that, because it's the obvious thing to do, isn't it? Is to bring that back into circulation. Let's see what the English gentleman south of the river in Lisbon thinks about this. Nice big round of applause for him. Olá, bom dia, tudo bem?
Yeah, tudo bem.
How you doing, mate?
I'm good. I'm very good.
This will have not escaped your attention, especially where you live. And this actually, the instance I'm talking about was in Almada, funnily enough. And I think this is sort of a misunderstanding on behalf of the correspondent here. 1.7 mil T5 house in Almada. It's already finished, hasn't been sold. Same street, littered with abandoned, half-collapsed buildings and inhabited ones that look like they'll crumble in the next gust of wind. Looks quite nice, and a very Portuguese scenario, of course, something that's built between the ruins. What's your view on that? I'm sure you agree with Veronica's assessment of that, why it happens. What do you think is the solution, Carl?
I could sit sort of between what Veronica said and what you said. Hello, by the way, Veronica.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So I kind of feel the same way. The part of me thinks like, you're going to have to take these properties off people at some point and sort of enforce it, because if there's not enough places for people to live, it's one thing to have property rights and all that kind of stuff. But if other people can't live anywhere because you own 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 properties, just like you say, just turn into dust before our eyes. But then I also agree with you that, I mean, I despise big government, and I'd like the government to stay well out of my business. So that doesn't sit well with me. But I think definitely provide incentives.
Well, but you're part of a community. It's one thing if it's the farm in the middle of nowhere and there's tons of land, but when your home is in a community and you have 10 of them and you don't care about that community, there's a problem. And there can be regulations and way to do it. There could be loans and you do it yourself. There could be all kinds of programs.
If they make incentives, and it's not, they don't just have to incentivize them either. They're going to have to incentivize the developers, because some of these, I just put a video in our group chat there that Carl may want to play, a little Instagram video that I put out 2-3 weeks ago. I was at a very nice property in Lisbon, and just across the street. So this ties in directly to what we're saying now. Just across the street, there was a ruin, and they're everywhere in Lisbon, And I mean, not to the sort of way that it's a blight everywhere, but you can't help but walking down these beautiful streets, and then, every 15 properties or so, I'm talking about an average here, clearly there's areas that are not like that. You've just got these beautiful facades, maybe they're crumbling slightly, but if you sort of look in, there's nothing inside,
Yeah.
So,
well, remember, Carl, that one we looked at together, and I don't want to divulge anything, but here's a family that does have money, just trying to decide, should we go ahead and sell it to someone who's made an offer near, that's attached to the property, they'll start renovating it right away, or should we just hold it and wait to renovate it ourselves and maybe make more money? So if there was some sort of incentive or tax incentive just to sell it, so that neighbor could have it, and then it would be.
As we know, there are some tax incentives with older properties that they can. I forget the name of it now. You might remember the name, Veronica, where the sort of older, more classic properties with historic value. That's what the word I'm looking for. There can be some tax incentives, but it probably needs to be much broader. This one here, I'm just looking out of the window of this property that I'm at, and looking at this. It's just a waste. It's absolutely doing nobody any good. I'd, in fact, go as far as to say it's extremely dangerous. I mean, there's no protection there. That could fall down at any time, and no one seems to care. But if you look at the comments that I get from it, you do get a few supporting comments, but mostly it's like, go back to England.
Really mind your own business. We love our crumbling.
It's so intensive and cost prohibitive for many people to rehabilitate these, that if it was something where the government could get the EU loans, because trust me, when they've gotten the EU loans, even in our community, they're on it like crazy. Like, they got money to build a whole bunch of units, and they are going up faster than I have seen anything go up, because it needs to be done by a specific time, or they owe the money back to the EU.
They're accountable to a greater power, so they're getting things done. But I mean,
when it's the government that's doing it, and the government is hiring people, and not to say the government's the only answer, but that is an option. If people don't have the money, maybe they've inherited that property and it's 1 or 2 million, and nobody wants to buy it for 1 or 2 million, because you've got the chaos of it's historical, it has to be redundant. If the city's doing it, they could have a special desk that pushes those through really fast, and it doesn't need to be a single family residence. That can be 10 apartments.
It sounds so simple.
Well, but they're doing it. They're doing it here. They have a plot of land that's been sitting vacant forever. They get money from the EU, and then boom, that thing is up overnight.
That's the only question. I mean, that it's just somewhere like Lisbon. I mean, that post was I was a little bit pointed in what I was saying, because basically it was along the lines of, there's a lot of anti-sentiment online, negative sentiment about foreigners, and I think it was just after the elections, the recent elections, and I said, you ought to look a little bit closer to home and look at your streets. If you're talking about a housing problem, I'd be less concerned about people coming to the country and more concerned about the sort of the massive. It's not a backlog, is it? It's just the sheer quantity of properties that are not just in Lisbon, but in any place you go to.
Oh yeah.
And a major proportion of them also, they don't know who lives there. They're not even paying taxes. So the city has got to reclaim those properties if the tax hasn't been paid. And if someone later says, hey, that was mine, they could still set aside a small fund to say, hey, okay, well, we took the taxes. You didn't pay for this amount. We sold it for this amount. Here's what's left for you. Even in California, the state of California gave $200,000 to the people that bought my father's home for a first-time homebuyer program. When they leave that house, that portion of the equity goes back into that program. So it's not a one size fits all for everybody, but if you just start in with some little programs and let them be voluntary.
Can I just say, I had an idea of something similar here, because I know there's a lot of properties that don't have habitation licenses. And I know my council in particular Almada, it's quite expensive and it takes a long time. And in fact, I think my neighbour's house, one of my neighbour's houses anyway, not the one I sold last year, it's an older property. It doesn't have a habitation license. And the neighbour told me some years ago, it was several tens of thousands of euros to legalise it. And I know there's a lot of properties dotted around that aren't legalised. And I think a similar thing, that what they've done in California there, let people legalise it for free, but put a lien on it, so that basically you're injecting value and availability into the market. Because if it's not got a HAB license, then you can't get a mortgage on it, which means a first-time buyer can't buy that house anyway, even if it is, relatively cheap or in the right place. But if you give people the opportunity to register those properties and say, right, the next time it sells or whatever else, we get our money back, then you'll incentivize people. There's entire neighborhoods, even near me, there's neighborhoods where there's just most of it isn't legalized. Legalize it and give people the opportunity. It's like giving them the opportunity to take a step up in life. If they're living in a property that is effectively valueless, almost anyway, it might be worth 50,000 where it should be worth 200,000. I don't know. But you sort of give those people a leg up. If you give them that document and go, stamp, there you go, they can sell it and move on and, get something else, and somebody can move in and refurbish it and all those kind of things. It seems pretty simple to me, but these things that they tend not to happen, or I don't see them happening anyway.
Well, I think they see them as such a global process. Like your both of your reaction at the very beginning is like, oh my gosh, can you do that? Can you take away property rights? And how do you do it? And it's so big to manage. You start small. You start very, very small, and you say, we have this program, voluntary. If any of you guys want to do it, we're going to do this, and it's very low cost. And there'll be a way to help you get through the process. You could probably even get volunteers. In America, we have SCORE, the Senior Corps of Retired Executives, or whatever it's called, and they come in and volunteer all the time to help people. So I think people want to see their communities better, and you have a huge retirement expat field. My gosh, in our group, we probably have 3 or 4 engineers. We probably have 2 or 3, property evaluators. Like, there are so many people that could jump in and help. And, in fact, in our city square, we have one building that is it's in the corner of the square that's been vacant for years. So when I first moved in, it was like a little pharmacy. Now it's been vacant, and it makes our whole town square look almost derelict because that one, and the story on it is that there's a front and a back to it. 2 different people own it. They hate each other. And until they both die, no one will ever get to rent that place. And that's when the city needs to go, you don't own this. You have a stewardship over this property. It's a stewardship. And if you can't see the value of the stewardship, that it's affecting everybody, and you've chose to buy in a city square and let your personal issues go over how everybody can enjoy that square. And I know that comes out a little communist, but there needs to be something like, basic CC&R.
It's not a lot communist, unfortunately. What do you mean?
Hold on a minute, because that's such a brilliant phrase, isn't it? That comes out a bit communist. But you said start small. How about starting local as well? I think
that's what it is. It starts small. It would never work as like a Portuguese government thing. It would have to be like,
local.
A group of people in our town of Vila Real de Santo Antonio start it and help with the funding and the financing and get a little plan, get people that are excited to do it, or you can incentivize them. Like the family with 10 kids, go, hey, I know just selling it, you're only going to make 5,000, but if you can get a slight tax incentive and you're part of the entire investment and you get a little bit more, or you can reinvest somewhere else and not have a tax hit. Because unless your home is your primary residence, you don't get off tax-free, but you do get if you own a primary residence here and you reinvest in the EU, there is a tax advantage for those gains.
Correct.
So again, it comes down to making it tax advantageous for them, because if they get money off selling a property, even if it's 5,000 and it bumps them up to the top tax rate and they're going to get half, what's the incentive to go through the drama and the headache? They'll just keep that for their heirs forever until it goes up in value.
Just that as well, and I don't know numbers on this. I read an article a long time ago about this kind of thing. The other aspect of this is the government also owns a lot of property that is falling apart. So you know, if the government aren't doing it, how do you incentivize or convince your citizens to do it? Because I believe they own thousands of buildings in Lisbon, and they're just as bad. Some of them falling apart.
It was the same with keeping land tidy, wasn't it? In respect to fires, when the authorities were saying, "Look, you've got to make sure your land is clean," and then they realised it was a lot of their own land wasn't clean. This is a great subject, and I had no idea we'd be talking about this morning, but it's obviously very close to people's hearts, and it's one of the things you see, isn't it, when you first tour around Portugal? It's like, how is it that building there it's got a number painted on the side of it, you know, for sale, and there's an old number on there, and you realize after a while, when you've been here, that number was painted, daubed on there 20 years ago, and it still hasn't sold. But we may well be onto something, and I think starting small and starting local, because I had a revolutionary idea for citizenship. You know, it's like, let local people decide who they want to come into their community. How about letting local people decide which buildings get sorted out as well? You know, what's worse?
Well, I think you need to just be involved in, like, you know, microloans, the owner, and the incentives, because if you get the neighbors all involved, if you've ever been to an association meeting, you just get some people with mental issues and they just want to screw everything up because they're bored and they just want to complain. We even had that in our Rotary.
It's a little bit HOA to me, which I would not like.
We need balance in all things, don't we? And you know, the thing here is like, I think a really important question that doesn't get asked in politics is, who does this affect? So who does that affect? You know, when there's a building falling apart in your neighborhood, it affects you, doesn't it, the local people? So they should definitely have the biggest say. I mean, maybe not the casting vote, because it does come back to the crazies in the HOA, but you know, some bit of balance.
That's exactly well said, Carl. The crazies in the HOA. Now we're getting in trouble for saying
we
crazy.
know who you are. We know who they are, don't we? You know, and it is a problem, but there must be a midpoint. You know, sending it up to Lisbon, you know, or Europe, you know, to the Brussels for people decide in remote places how you're going to live. I have a problem with, but let's bring it back more locally, but maybe not granular, such up the HOA crazy.
No, I really don't think. I think that's where, you know, if you have a family who can't even agree what to do with the property, then you're most likely not going to get all the neighbors to agree. And there is
definite where we are at the moment.
Gossipy stuff that goes on these small towns, just small town America, small town anywhere. If they don't like somebody or somebody looked at their cat the wrong way, they're going to try to like come after you. And that would be your house doesn't get picked for the program.
I didn't realize that was a thing. Should I stop looking at people's cats?
I'm sorry. Just because my cat's chasing a fly and I'm laughing early over it.
Okay.
Inappropriately.
We may pick this up and run with it. It's, you know, it's a problem, isn't it? It definitely needs some sort of solution. And that was an interesting point that person was making on X, but I think, you know, they got it wrong. They were trying to link.
Actually, can I just say I didn't see that quote. I'm not on X really, but I'd like to know where that property is exactly, because people say Almada.
Yes.
I'm in the council of Almada, but I'm not in Almada. And my neighborhood would be, you know, one of the streets near me would be significantly more expensive than something in the middle of Almada, you know, true Almada, the town or the city of Almada. So
I'm sending you the link now. You can go. You might even be able to make a commission on it and sell it. You know, so who knows?
If the street looks so shabby, you know, I don't know.
Give them a bit of advice.
I looked at a property with a friend, one of the agents I used in the past, and it was a pension house, and it was up there on the top of the hill in Almada, right next to where the cable cars crashed. But you know that where that big like kind of outdoor food market areas. They always have bands. There was a pension that, and this guy took us on this tour, and it was floor after floor after floor of pension rooms. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this already has the licenses, everything. Someone could convert this into just proper apartments, or even like a hostel that could be for, working adults or something, because hostels are always for kids traveling, but, working adults that need a place and common spaces, because these workspaces are getting pretty popular. So if you had a workspace in there and everybody had their, bathrooms and showers, some down the hall and some inside, it could be so beneficial because the rents could be lower and whoever owned it would be making a good chunk of change.
Yeah, very good. Very good. We've run out of time, but if we could go to a few comments to add to this conversation, I might make a clip of this. I might make one of those clickbait videos, like what do we do with all these abandoned buildings in Portugal? That's one that will get a few clicks, isn't it? But it's, apart from that, it's a very serious issue, and there are some great ideas here this morning. So thank you very much. There is the link to the original tweet, the X post that spawned that. And I've got a few other comments that I starred up that I want to include. Yes, the News and the Resident both have weekly print versions. We were talking about that earlier on. Sarah says our city in America had abandoned houses and solved it. They got the title. The city got the title and sold them for $1 each with a low interest loan to fix them up. New owners had to live there 3 years. It worked. John Wood. He's in the affordable housing business. Good thing someone is planning to build affordable housing. Nice to see you, John, this morning. That was Decatur in Georgia. That's GA, isn't it, Veronica, Georgia? Sarah Yeoman, surely we don't want more taxes. Can't we offer tax reduction incentives, not continually bash us for trying to improve our financial situation? I've read that there was a tax charge in Italy that has encouraged people to sell inheritance. Yeah, tax.
Yes, there's a big incentive with that, and a lot of people are looking at the 7% flat tax for foreigners. There's a lot of people moving Portugal into Italy and into Albania as well.
Yeah, they were meant to tax vacant properties, but we are talking about Portuguese bureaucracy, and they didn't mention which century. Sarah, you have plenty of examples to discuss, but of course, no living proof of doing it because governments rarely offer incentives unless to the wealthy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's true, because I've seen it work in California, and I've seen it work spectacularly.
Fair enough.
All kinds of stuff. There are examples for it. You just
I'm
need
sure.
to manage small and with some flexibility.
Yes, and representation for local people. Just need to, but not the crazies. Just need to remove capital gains tax on these properties for starters, says Mel there. And the last couple coming in then this morning, €1 houses for the young Portuguese. Yay, a living. That might make them stay in the country and not go and work abroad. That could change the game, couldn't it?
And they could actually get all their friends together, like our Habitat for Humanity, and work on it themselves, because one of the issues they run into, there's not enough builders. But some of the stuff that's not super, it's labor intensive, but maybe doesn't need a super high tech person, just continually slapping on the concrete and the paint and some of the labor work, chipping away for 9 years at the wall, like Philomena's.
It's another American model. We can have an Amish model of community involvement, but instead of big jugs of lemonade, we'll have big jugs of Sagres and Superboc, and we'll eat
and concrete.
Prato de Dia. We'll have an hour and a half lunch break. It's going to be great. We've created a Portuguese utopia, everybody, this morning. What are you going to say, Carl, there? You're going to add something.
They did something similar in Italy a few years ago, and I watched the initial video on that, and I watched the follow-up on it recently, and there were incentives. They were selling €1 homes in small villages. And it was a follow-up on, it might have been Bloomberg or something like that, how the scheme had gone, the successes and failures of it. I think generally it was successful, but those €1 homes had generally turned into like 120,000 euro investments overall once they'd taken into account taxes from buying it. The house was 1,000, but they had to pay purchase taxes and agents' fees and all this kind of stuff. And then obviously they need to spend a lot of money on it. But I think generally it did work. It got people, not huge amounts of people, but it did get people into those towns. So you could offer mortgages based on that, like we're saying there, sell them to the Portuguese youth,
Got to be a way, hasn't there?
Give them the loan to do it over a 3-year period, and there we go.
Well, and if they're doing it and they're bringing all their friends in, you've got jobs for people and learning new skills, right? Yes. So in Habitat for Humanity in America, the people that are low income come and help build their houses. So they have a manager, but it only takes somebody with the nail gun going boom, boom, boom. And he's like, marks, here's the board that marks every, 4 inches, just put this over, the hole and make sure the nail goes in straight. And they make sure they wear hard hats. So because we always say, oh, there's not enough builders. But if you have Portuguese people without jobs, and you also have, community service-based needs where people want to learn a skill or want to be part of the community, bring your retirees, bring your kids, bring everybody together and change it.
In such a resourceful society, we've got all the bits, haven't we? As ever, it seems to be a matter of will and joining up the dots.
And stop the photo of, I wish, it's so sad. And I love the photo music, but to always look and wish what you could do and what could be and lament it, dig in and do it.
Oh my goodness. Maybe that's going to be the name of this video. Stop the Fado.
Oh no, that'll be in so much trouble.
I think it's dig in and do it.
Stop the mentality, not the
right.
I would just do it. Oh no, I said that out loud.
Thank you so much to both of you. That's been an amazing conversation this morning. And thanks for all the contributions that have come in from the room as well this morning. And yes, my 2 takeaways, the 2 fabulous quotes from today. Sorry if that came out a little bit communist, and stop the Fado. What a brilliant note.
I'm so in trouble. Everyone's going to say, get that weird American off.
Cheers. Cheers, Veronica. Cheers, Carl. Thank you very much. Take care. See you next month. Bye for now.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show